Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to give you a little bit of a house tour or apartment tour of my indoor plants, and I think I'm just going to cover the living room and dining room area. I'll cover the bedroom in a separate video just so I don't make this super long. So let's get started. Here I have a variegated rubber tree. It's not doing a whole lot of growing right now, but it's also not dying either, so I think it's just a little bit of a dormancy stage, which is fine. With the winter right now, I'm just watering it as needed, not on a really set schedule. Then I have the Dracaena marginata here. Again, that one's not doing a huge amount of growing, but I think it's just stable. It does lose some of its leaves on the bottom, you know, see, just like that. Also here in Arizona, the humidity is so low in the winter time especially. I have a lot of trouble with brown tips and keeping the humidity up for a lot of the plants. So yeah, that's, you know, a constant problem, but misting does seem to help on those too. And over here, I have some leftover poinsettias from the holidays. I'm trying to keep these alive to see if I can possibly make them bloom next season. They're actually doing really well. I have them in their containers that they came in and just dropped them into these vintage tins that I had, just, you know, so they look nicer. And once the soil is dry, I take the pot out and I water them from underneath. I put some water in a baking dish and I set them in there and they just absorb the water. But their bracts are still hanging on for some of them. This one, not as much, perhaps because of the variety of the lighter color, I don't know. But they're hanging in there, so we'll see. And this is my Sticks on Fire that I actually brought in, and I'm having it as a house plant right now. It's doing really well actually for the little bit of light that it gets in this window. It's not bad at all. When I move to a different location, I'll probably put it back outside so it can get some more sun and get that wonderful color that it gets, and why it's called Sticks on Fire. That's Darcy there. He's the reason I do so many of voiceovers on my videos, because he's always chirping. And Rosie, hi Rosie, keeping an eye out. Here I've got the blinds a little bit closed to not have so much backlight, so she's waiting for me to finish. Anyways, I have this table here behind my sofa where I keep plants that are ones that I missed a lot, more tropical plants. My poor peace lily here, I don't know what I'm going to do with this guy. Again, it's not dying, but it sure isn't growing. And you hear that crunching? I miss these. That's why I have all these grouped together here, and I've got pebble tray there with water, and I miss them, but I don't know. You know, this just goes to show why I need to buy the right plant for the right location. Although I love plants, the apartment I live in only has north-facing windows. This is probably one of the most bright windows that I have, and so a lot of plants don't get the light that they need, and I've had some die on me since my last update. And it just goes to show, no matter how much you love a plant, if you don't have the right location for it, you know, don't buy it until you do. So this is my bamboo. Oh God, I'm having a brain fart. Bamboo sticks and a bromelia that I got for my birthday. And these, I actually have this one in orchid mix in this orchid pot, and I water it with bottled water, with distilled water or bottled water down in there, and it's doing really well. It hasn't lost any leaves since I got it, and the bloom here is doing okay. It's a little bit dry on the ends, but again, that's why I miss them every couple of days. This is my Monstera Deliciosa. I think I've got one leaf that has a split on it. Here it is back here. One leaf that has a split on it. But it's doing okay. It's hanging in there. I moved over here because I was getting in Rosie's way. This is a plant that I got at Lowe's for $1, and it's a Aurelia. And it's just barely starting to get some leaves there, but it's a very slow grower. And again, you see the humidity problem that I face. I'm gonna have to really invest in a humidifier for some of these tropical plants, but we'll see. I'm gonna be moving out of this apartment when our lease is up in June, and I'll let you guys in on a little secret. I'm thinking, my daughter and I are thinking of moving to Florida, Tampa, Florida, and that's why one of the reasons that I'm not buying a whole lot more plants, because moving plants cross country is not something that I'm really looking forward to. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on that. Now over here on my coffee table is one of 3 ponytail palms that I had gotten. I have 2, and then I gave one to my mom. Excuse me. And this one here is so wide. As you can see, I was running out of, I didn't know where to put it. It was so wide, and I didn't want to cut the ends off of it. So I thought it fit fine on this round coffee table that I have. But it's doing really well. I love it. Now around the corner here, in front of my patio door, I have my ZZ plant, and it's doing well and not so well. It's got these yellow leaves on it, which I am so careful in not overwatering it, but it's also gotten these beautiful new shoots that have opened up. So I'm just thinking that those leaves there are just the natural shedding of old leaves, and because it's doing well with new shoots. Now I did get a Chinese evergreen. I had not had this, but the plant I had, the Dracaena lemon lime that I had in this pot, died, and so this Chinese evergreen was on sale, so that was my justification for getting this one. But it's doing really well. I like it. I've never owned this plant before, and it looks really nice and healthy, so I'm loving it. Now over here, I had to bring in for the winter these 2 desert rose plants, and because they do not do well in temperature below 55. So even though we're in Arizona, we were getting overnight temperatures below 40, so I brought them in, and they're doing well. They're already starting to grow some new leaves. I have not had these flower for me, so I'm hoping that this year they will, but their caudix down at the bottom there is starting to grow and get wider, so hopefully they will. Now moving up to the dining room table here, here's my amaryllis. Remember that I had cut the flower stalk off, so it just has leaves now. This is the jade cutting that Jolene had given me from I Love Jolene. And look at that. Look at those roots there. Get it in focus here. But it's doing really well in the water, and I'll show you in just a minute the other 2 that I had put into dirt. They're doing really well too. This is my peperomia. It just says peperomia. So if you happen to know the type of peperomia this is, leave it down below in the comments. You know, when you buy things at the big box stores, they sometimes don't always put the full name on things. They'll just like foliage plant or something. So this one just said peperomia. I don't know exactly what kind, and it's just looking a little better. I moved it from where it was and put it out here in a little bit more light area in front of the patio door, and it's starting to look a little better. So over on the wall here, I have a couple of hanging plants. You probably remember the project that I did for this DIY face planter. I'll link it up above there so you can check that out. But the Hoya that I had originally planted in there was struggling, so I've moved it, repotted it, and now I have actually some cuttings of string of bananas that I had been propagating and moved them into this little planter here, and I think they'll do well there. The other plant that I've moved is this string of beads. These aren't string of pearls, but string of beads that I got from Mountain Crest Gardens, and I took those out of a couple of other garden dishes that I had, and I wanted to bring them inside, and so they're doing really well in there. Happy with that. Can you hear Darcy whistling? Now this up here is peperomia. Let me see. Ruby Cascade is what it is. So that one is a peperomia Ruby Cascade, and it's doing okay. It's a little leggy there, so not sure. Again, needs better lighting. Here are the bulbs of the paper whites that I just took apart a couple of days ago. They're drying out there. I'll leave a link to the project that I did for paper whites, and I had a good experience with them. Learned a few things as far as the shape of container that I should have used to be able to anchor them a little bit better, because they got really tall. I'll put some pictures here of how tall they were. I mean, they must have been, one of them must have been at least 3 feet tall. There is a way that you can make them grow shorter by adding vodka or gin to your water mix. I didn't have any vodka or gin, so I didn't try it, but I guess it really does work. If you don't want them to grow really tall, you can add vodka or gin to your water, and it will stunt, won't hurt the plant, but it will stunt the growth of the leaves. So moving down here to my shelving unit, here, speaking of paper whites, this is the last one left. This was one bulb that I saved because it was getting too much water in where I had it, and put it in dirt, and it's growing nicely now. And some succulents, a topsy-turvy plant. This is a little topsy-turvy baby that I was propagating, and let's see if I can get it to focus, and put it back in with its mother plant where it originally came from, so it's doing well. The Senecio Jacobsonii that I recently planted, my little selfie pot from Mountain Crest Gardens, and the giant watch chain. Can't wait till that grows out and it looks like hair. Speaking of, well, not speaking of, but showing you another holiday plant that's doing okay is the cyclamen. And this is the second one I have. This was given to me by my son along with the bromeliad for my birthday early January. And I had one of these before, and it died on me because I watered it too much from the top. This one, I've been taking it out of the container because I just have it in its original pot in this galvanized bucket here, and I set it in a pan of water and let it suck up the water. And that seems to be doing the trick as far as keeping this one healthier, because it's continuing to bloom. It's lost a couple of leaves, a few leaves, but it's continuing to bloom. So I think that's the secret to these, is watering them from below. Here are the other two jade plants that I had propagated. And you see these air roots there? Isn't that cool? They're doing really well. I know that they're rooting because they're really firm in the dirt, and I haven't lost any leaves or anything, so they're doing really well. Here's the little succulent dish that I did recently. I'll leave a link to that project, but it's doing great. I've already watered it. I waited about 5-6 days before I watered it. I like to do that in case any of the roots were damaged or broken during the transplant. If you wait a little bit to water, then that reduces the chance of root rot because it gives a chance for the roots to heal up. Going below here is my Pothos Marble Queen. The reason it's over to the side is because I'm planning to put another one or a different variety in this particular container, but that one's looking okay. Not a super fast grower for me, but we'll see. Hopefully it will be. Here is a dish that I did probably back in the summer, in August sometime, and this is in a Goodwill find, different Sempervivums, Crassula springtime there, some more Crassula on this side, and some sedum. So it's a bunch of different little succulents in there, and they're doing well. Some more succulent cuttings that I put in. These are little bowls that I've gotten at Goodwill and put drainage holes in them myself. But this little Mammillaria thimble cactus, I think it's called, it's kind of stretching out a little bit there, but I've taken off some of its arms and put them in the dish there so it can grow. Sedum, don't know the name, I'll have to look it up and put it on the screen for you, but here is my Thanksgiving cactus. I know that's a Thanksgiving cactus because of the little edges of the leaves there have the little spikes, whereas the Christmas one are a little bit smoother. But this one flowered for me a couple times, and now it's budding new leaves, so it's doing really well. And down here finally is this flower sifter that I had gotten at Goodwill, and it just has a few succulents that I've been propagating, or were small that I didn't have a place to put them. So they're doing really well in their panda plant. Looks like a Crassula also, and a little tiny string of bananas there too. So that's pretty much it for my tour today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I would so much appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. I try to post at least once a week regarding my balcony garden, my houseplants, succulents, all of those things. And I so appreciate your being here today. Thanks so much and have a blessed day.